Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as usual, let's go over the market. Let's go over Tesla. Pretty amazing run today, in all honesty. So we'll discuss what it means, moving forward, and is this good? Is this bad? Is there more room to the upside? Is it rally done? Is it just, downhill from here? Like, what does it all mean? So we'll go over all that. Of course, it's just my opinion, and I'm not a financial advisor. Make your own decisions. Do your own research. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, I also have my membership course, or not really a course, but membership section, if you will, where I post intraday updates on Tesla as the market moves. And yeah, we pretty much discuss all of that as it happens. If you want to join, of course, the link is in the description below, at the very top of the description, or you can click the join button beside my name or the subscribe button. Anyways, moving into a Tesla, looking like it'll be actually not looking like, literally closing out 4.4% to the green side, which is quite a phenomenal move, which will be putting us at just shy of $174. Now that $174, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion at least, is extremely important. And the reason for that is because, well, as you can see, let's go to, we could do 1 hour, I guess it doesn't really matter too much, but, rejection 1, rejection 2, rejection 3, several candles here in this general area, but we'll just call this a 3 overall. And now we're arguably on the 4th rejection while making a lower low here and arguably a lower high than this candle here, right? We didn't go higher, like right, this move right here did not go higher than this move right here. But this move right here did go lower than any of these moves over here. So to me, people are bullish. And don't get me wrong, yesterday's investor day, I thought it was phenomenal. Like, yeah, all I wanted to do was just buy like as many shares as I possibly could as the market opened. But, that's obviously, I'm trying to be, cautious about it. I'm not trying to just use emotions. I'm just trying to think about it as logically and emotionless, if you will, as I can, because that's what you want to do in the market, at least in my opinion. Now, a lot of enthusiasm, rightfully so. It was a great investor day, great information being shared, right? Tesla with, potentially advertising and stuff like that. It was great. It was great. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. However, you want to distance the emotions and that aside from the stock, because Tesla's not just about like, oh, how did investor day go or how did this go? It's also about just macroeconomics, macro conditions. Now, at the moment, the market itself doesn't look that bad. In all honesty, this is getting really interesting to me, confusing and interesting. So like Q breaking out here, SPY breaking out here. Like, okay, we're approaching some massive resistance on SPY at this 417-ish area, like major resistance, like huge resistance, right? So that's, keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important. But nonetheless, the market's not looking that bad, surprisingly. Like it's a little surprising, I'll be honest. But again, take it with a grain of salt, in my opinion, of course. It'll always find the most difficult way to confuse as many people as possible, right? That's just how the market works. If it was easy, everyone would be rich. Now, with that being said, however, moving back to Tesla, so the way I see it is as follows. So we did actually, again, this smaller bear flag was just like a small bear flag. It wasn't that relevant in my opinion, but it was just something to keep in note, and it did follow it. However, it did, arguably invalidate this smaller little bear flag. So for now, we can honestly probably just completely ignore it because it's essentially irrelevant now. But the more important thing is as follows. So remember when we what was it, 2 days ago, I think Monday even, when we had this little retest right here and I talked about how it happened a little too fast, a little too quick. Like, I don't like the way this was retested. I want to see a true retest of this massive bear flag that we are in, right? Of course, whatever, like, make this right here. Right, whatever, like this bear flag right here, essentially, right? Well, that's essentially what we have gotten today, right? Today, we actually have officially retested the bottom of the bear flag, the breakdown of the bear flag. So far, the retest is successful, and it's not showing any meaningful re-entry into the bear flag, in my opinion. And it's also closing below 174, which I don't think I have this line at 174. I wanted to put it at 174, but whatever, roughly around 174. It doesn't have to be exactly, pinpoint accurate, but the point is you get the rough idea, right? Around 174-ish of a rejection. So, we're in a bit of a situation here because this is a major resistance area. We are retesting the bear flag so far successfully, which isn't great in terms of, if you're a bull, if you're a bear, it's fantastic. But if you're a bull, you definitely want to be eyeballing the situation right here very, very closely, because not only is 174-ish, or like very high 173 point something, very important as a major resistance, because again, here, right? But it is also, of course, the bear flag that we are retesting. And again, we've said this before, whenever you break out of a major move, of a major consolidation, it's very common to retest that breakout. That's essentially what we got. We broke down, came up, retested, and now I personally believe something like this will happen. Again, you don't know for sure, and we need to see how this plays out, right? Tomorrow is actually really important, in my opinion. But this could be a pretty major, kind of fake out by the market. Again, I really need to see how tomorrow goes, because right now it's kind of in limbo land. Like, it's just teetering on like the brink of, good and bad at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, it's very bad in the sense that like it's just pretty much right underneath the bear flag and it couldn't really re-enter it, but it's so darn close to it that all it takes is just one more slight push, like let's say tomorrow, and it can re-enter it. You know what I mean? It's extremely close there. So that's why, to me personally, tomorrow is extremely important to see how this plays out and to really see, is this just a fake out or is this truly just an actual bull run and we go even higher, right? Very crucial to me. So right now it's a little bit difficult for me with a lot of confidence to tell you for sure this is very good or very bad. It is truly a little bit of a interesting situation, so just keep that in mind. But let's take a quick look over here on TSLQ, right? And TSLQ gives a little bit of a more obvious picture, in my opinion. At the moment you can see that it's essentially arguably retesting this bull flag breakout right here, right? It came down, so this was the bull flag right here. Let's go zoom out a little bit here, right? From maybe down here, let's say, boom, nice little bull flag, broke out right over here, and now it's simply broke out, touched a little bit of resistance, which is of course the resistance right here, right? Pretty normal stuff. A little bit of a retest so far successfully, and then it breaks over this resistance right here and then goes up even higher, at the very least in my opinion, to around the mid to high 50s, which will probably bring Tesla back to somewhere around the 150s ish area. So that's why, to me right now, the way I look at it and what I've been describing in my members section, the risk versus reward for the bulls, in my opinion, here is low. I personally believe it is very, very low right now. I don't think it's very worth the risk. Now, it doesn't mean it can't go higher, but think of it this way. This is the way I'm looking at it, right? To me, right now, the realistic best case scenario before like some major resistance does come along is $180. Like, there's no way we go up to 180 from here and also break above it right away. At the very least, if we do do the bullish route, we will come up here, get our massive rejection, and then come back down here somewhere at least. And then you can, but if that happens, then, it's a little bit more obvious as to what might happen next, right? Or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, the point is that I don't think there's much more upside left before it's like a true major rejection at 180. But the flip side, I believe that there is potentially a lot more downsides, right? I personally believe that we'll come down to the 150s again, maybe even the 140s. Like, I still believe that will happen. So that's why the risk versus reward isn't that great. So for instance, let's look at it percentages wise, right? At the moment right now, if you're still betting on upside, you got maybe 3 to 4% to the upside, in my opinion, of course, just my opinion, right? On the flip side, at the very least, I would be surprised if we don't get at least a 10%-ish move to the downside, if not more. You know what I mean? So that risk versus reward is just really not there right now, at least in my opinion. So that's the way I'm personally looking at it. That's what I just described in the very recent post I just posted before I started recording this video, because that is just my perspective. That is what I see. Obviously, I could be completely wrong. No one knows for sure, guaranteed, what the market will do. But especially with SPY approaching a major resistance at 417 here, QQQ, yeah, I don't know about this one. This one is definitely just, I guess you can argue it is approaching a major resistance right here, similar to this situation. Let's go ahead and draw a bit of a line here, so we can kind of keep track of this kind of general area right here. A lot of rejection here, so we're pretty much at like arguably right now that maybe a little bit higher, but not much higher. Like major resistance on the QQQ, right? Not much more room to the upside there. So there, in my opinion, there is a rejection coming. Now, this rejection doesn't have to be like some super bearish rejection. It could just be like just a simple downturn a little bit, and then we just continue moving upwards. Maybe Tesla won't even go to 145. Maybe Tesla will just do a double bottom at 150s, and we're good to go from there, right? That's also very possible. So, but the point is that I don't think there's much more upside before at least some downside, before potential even more upside. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. Again, I just think something like this, or here, like either here or here, before more upside, because that looks a little weird. But you know what I mean? That's just the way I see it. This is a really difficult one to explain because the market is extremely confusing right now, in my opinion, of course. But one pretty good sign for Tesla is on the RSI. On the daily, you can see, even though it did actually arguably close the highest point in the candle, because so never mind. I was going to say that, you can see the RSI is definitely just pointing straight up and above both of these levels here. But at the same time, this is technically the highest level we've actually closing at since, this whole fiesta over here. Even though the candle obviously didn't breach higher than these levels, it did close higher than these levels, which is, not bad, honestly, not too shabby. But again, it's still at a very crucial point, just kind of in this little limbo land right here, just teetering, man. It's just teetering on this like extremely important, vital, crucial level right now that tomorrow, I need to see tomorrow. I really do. Like, it is what it is. This is one of those times where there's not a lot of confidence for me right now in terms of, truly guaranteeing, is this the top? Is this not the top? Tomorrow is really important. But again, the way I look at it, guys, not much room to the upside before, at least for sure, a rejection happens, in my opinion, at 180, and potentially a lot more room to the downside if it does actually get rejected here. Just my thoughts. So yeah, that's kind of what I am seeing right now, ladies and gentlemen. The VIX is just really can't find any footing. Once this thing finds footing, though, if it does, of course, it could be really bad. But you never know. You never really know for sure. But again, just looking strictly at Tesla, that's what I am seeing right now. Just a lot of caution here, in my opinion. Just be very cautious. This is not a time, in my opinion, to be greedy. But you do you, of course, as per usual. But thank you all so much for watching. If you're curious what I'm doing, I'll just quickly explain. I don't have that many positions right now. The only position I have are cash secured puts. What I did was on the rally today, I did buy them back, and then I resold them again. Very similar cash secured puts. I just made them slightly safer. That's about it. But the idea behind them is very, very similar, and also for this Friday. And then once it expires, hopefully worthless. I'm thinking it will be worthless. It's at 170p for this Friday. If it doesn't, fantastic. I'll buy the shares, no worries. And then I'll just sell calls against it anyways. But if it doesn't, then I will just simply resell new ones next week. Not a problem whatsoever. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.